Hey, what's up everybody? Adi here from Hit the Road Music Studio, live from Greece. I'm back in Igoumenitsa. When we made the winner announcement, I was in Amsterdam. 2 hurricanes catch me to record one TV show with Noam Vazana. This was a crazy time. Now I'm safe back, and I thought, let's go more deep into the common mistakes, common issues that I found while listening to all of your mixes. And we have some honorable mentions, and you will understand after watching the video more what made the winning mix and what not. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody. I read the comments and some people were disappointed, and I want that you know, when you were not in the top 6 or top 12, it doesn't mean that your mix was bad, okay? There were so many incredible mixes and we really had to go into the detail. The detail and the overall vibe made the mix contest winner. And I will talk today about common issues. First of all, give yourself a clap on the shoulder for participating in the mixing challenge, because you did something for yourself. You did something to get better doing what you love. And I know this mix was very hard, this mix was very tricky, and for most of the people who listen to Western music, rock with heavy drums and so on, this might be a true challenge to understand where is the rhythm, how can we build the groove here, and yeah, I will guide you now more through the process. First of all, there was a full mixing tutorial, including an interview to understand the artist and to get a picture about the artist. If you haven't watched it, please do so now. You can just go, or later, whenever you want, but check it out, because I go in depth into the mix and shared a lot of tips and tricks. And I felt, first of all, that a couple of people, also people who complained that they didn't watch the mixing tutorial. There was a full mixing tutorial. Before you started mixing, you had time to see how to mix all those instruments that you are not familiar with. For example, the djembe and the rebab. And let's jump into the first, let's say, issue. And through this process, I guide you also through my evaluation process. I read a couple of comments that we just checked the intro, first verse and second verse. And that's not true, because we just showed it in our video where we presented 12 mixes with Warren together. If we would play all the mixes from beginning to the end, the video would take over 2 hours. And it was anyway a cut of a 2-hour interview. There were not many people who have time to watch a 2-hour video. This is why we make this add-on now. So you understand my evaluation process, understand common mistakes, and understand what the winning mix required. So at the beginning, I started, of course, by the intro to listen the sound quality of the rebab. The rebab is the Moroccan violin, and what many people did was make it too bright. They just boost the top end, and it pushed the reverb up front, so it will clash later with the vocals in the mix. Number 2, it hurts a little bit in the ear, because the tone of the rebab is by around 200-300 hertz. You can put a little bit of compression to make a consistent sound, or to make it pop out a little bit more, make it sound a little bit warmer. So when the reverb was already too bright or didn't sound that natural, because it is an uncommon instrument for many people, so they boosted frequencies that are not natural to the reverb, so it sounded really, really strange to my ears. And I just spent 2 years in Morocco working on the music every day, so this was the first criteria for the mix to go to the next step. Like a good sounding rebab. Hey, can you hear the doggo? We're in this camping place here in Igoumenitsa. He's protecting us. Anyway, then it went to the second step. I when the reverb was good, and it was by most of the mixes, I continue listening at least 30 seconds and checked out until the djembe kicked in, because this was a crucial point. In a couple of mixes you hear how the mix is losing its power when the djembe kicks in. Different frequencies were boosted, for example, a lot of top end and a lot of bottom end, and the mid range was really missing in the djembe. The mid range glued the track together and was the driving force in the song. This is very tricky because it was just one small djembe and it needed special care, love and attention in the right frequency range. So in a couple of mixes you just hear how the energy gets lost when the djembe kicks in. This is where many mixes didn't pass the next step. What you can do is, again, watch the mixing tutorial, but also you can, because there are two djembe mics, you can use the bottom mic more for the low end and the mid range, and the top mic only for the smack. Other common mistakes were a strange reverb on the djembe or a delay that really messed up the rhythm. There was too much of a delay on it, so this couldn't go through and go into the top 100 or top 200. If the djembe was good, if the overall balance of the mix was good, I moved on and listened to the dynamics between the verse and the chorus. Is it getting bigger, wider? Did you push the whole verse already as loud as possible? This was common by people who rather work a lot with rock or hip-hop, where this effect is desired, where you just smack it, that it's loud and exciting all the time. This track I was looking for a more live vibe, like a clean live vibe. What I mean here is, for example, the djembe and the bass. This is the driving force for the rhythm, and they had to interact with each other, they had to dance with each other. This was another common mistake, that the bass got too much of a subharmonic generator, something like R bass or low air, and it sounded very unreal. It was too much. The bass is very tricky because it has the longest frequencies and it can take the most of the space in your mixes. So when it's pushed too heavy or too artificial, it's killing the vibe and couldn't come through. So for the bass, I have a killer tip for you. These are tips that I share in my ProMix Academy courses, especially with Isolan and Sahara, where we have bass lines from Morocco that need low end, but also melody. They are very melodic, so they are playing their own melody lines. So when you have too much low end, those melody lines get muddy. You can't hear them really. And what you can do is a good balance between 80 Hertz and 2K. 2K was the magic frequency here to get more of the tonality out of it. Not too much, because then it sounds too skinny. And when it was sounding too skinny, all Moroccan musicians were writing to me like, man, where's the low end? And I had to find a way to make it work. So usually R bass, either you can double the DI input, make one for the high frequencies, one for the low frequencies, distort it a little bit with a sense amp, and then put them on the bus, and then just work on the bus. Or what I did, just one DI track, working on it carefully, taking care of 110 Hertz. This is something where it muds up commonly. And yeah, pushing a little bit of R bass, a little bit of 2K, compressing it and popping it back in, and see how it works with the djembe. So here also priority setting was important, like how did you start with your mix? Usually I start with the rhythm section, and then like the djembe in this case, and then the bass, and then I build on top of this foundation, of this rhythmic foundation. Next common issues were with Najee's vocals. I understand there is a bunch of YouTube videos telling you to push the top end of the vocals, but here it didn't work because we recorded in a tile room with a condenser microphone. I think we had the 441 Flex that works perfect for the vocals, but there was enough top end already. And if you push the top end, at first when you push something, the low part gets a little bit out of balance. So when it was too bright, it didn't glue together with the track. It sounded like very separate from all the other instruments. The second thing is you could hear harsh S's. Harsh S's when the top end was too much boosted on Najee's vocals, you heard very harsh S's, and those S's usually went also into a reverb or a delay and got emphasized. And a couple of mixes didn't take care of this. Yeah, they didn't make it through. What you can do, because I wanted you to learn here something, so what you can do is, for example, putting a de-esser in front of your reverb and cut the top end. Usually on my reverbs, my top end is it's holy for me. Only the most important elements that should be up front will get the top end. And usually it's the voice, but not the reverb. The reverb will get the cut up to 5K. Everything above 5K, gone. Also the low end, drastic cuts up to 400 Hertz. And of course, depending on the track, always listening to the track, what's going on. But this helps also to tame those harsh S's in the reverb, in the delay. We got the bass covered, we got the djembe covered, the rhythm section is important, the vocals are important. I had one complaint that the string noise, the guitar string noise, was too loud in the winning mixes. So regarding the string noise, there are tracks that changed the life of so many people that have the string noise in it, from Bob Dylan to Mark Knopfler and many, many more, like all those old tracks. So how could this pass through? It's the vibe. It's the vibe that the winners really captured here. Even our small technical details, you know. I listened to them 8 to 10 times and I could close my eyes and I was back in the session. You know what I mean? They captured the vibe of the session, they captured the overall vibe for the tonal quality for each element and how they interact together. This was so important. This was really the hardest part for most of the mixes. If you really focus on some specific elements, then you will find always issues and you will never finish a mix. And yeah, I think here it doesn't bother me, don't disturb me. There will be always like scratches on the guitar. Some were really heavy, way heavier than what is there in the winning mixes because of a lot of compression. There was a lot of compression on the guitars, on a couple of mixes, and compression push up the noise floor. So we weren't in the studio, we were in a tile room outside where the birds singing, and I really love those versions that emphasize the birds singing in the background. But if the other elements weren't compressed that heavily, you could really hear like a noise in the background. And this was up to a point really disturbing, and less compression would give you a better effect here with the guitars. I hope this makes sense. The next part is the chorus. Of course, then we went over to the chorus. I checked, is the chorus getting wider and bigger? What you can do here is, for example, reverb automation, delay automation on those elements. And one special tip, I'm not sure if we doubled it, if we doubled the chorus, maybe not. If we doubled it anyway, there is one tip, one trick how to make fuller sounding choruses with a vocal doubler. You can just group all of the backing vocals into one bus and send the bus to a vocal doubler. And on top of that, I use real ADT, just blending it back a little bit, not too much because you will hear a phasing. And on top of it, I have 2 times the micro shift. One goes hard left, one goes hard right. And the micro shift is just a little delay with a little bit of detuning. With 2 different values on both sides, left and right, bringing it also back, making the backing vocals way bigger, wider and fuller, like there would be more of them. So this was one of the tips that could help you to make a wider chorus. Many mixes were heavily compressed in the mix bus already, so the verse was almost the same volume like the first chorus, so the second verse, everything stayed like on one level, and this was crucial in this track to bring more dynamics into the song because it's repeating. This is normal in Moroccan music. It's repeating with the same melody, the same parts at the beginning until it comes to the bridge. And then it goes to the last chorus. So the last chorus should be the loudest, the most exciting of all. So you would have to work with automation to make it step by step louder. Next part, when you made it to the second chorus and the verse, the next part was of course the bridge. And of course the bridge made the big decision. So many mixes made it to the bridge, and we had this small detuning there, like the voice were a little bit out of tune. It's not that dramatic as people write. I did some auto-tune there, of course. We did it together with Naji, so it was approved by him, and I exported the files with auto-tune. Anyway, it was still a little bit off in the bridge. So what I did was, I call it sending Naji to space. I put like automated reverb going into a delay and built a cloud around him that maybe distracted a little bit from this detuning. And I was hoping to hear more creative approaches in the bridge from different mixers. What was cool was I got really surprised by people who made the minimalistic approach, just a little bit of reverb that already fixed it and made it exciting. Like it was your personal touch, and I really appreciate it. Though this didn't make the winning mix or not, if you put FX in this bridge section, there are, I think, 2 mixes that made it without the effects that sounded still good. It was just more like a bonus point, like did you put the extra effort and check how to work with those kind of issues. Our clear message was do whatever you can, what is in your hands, to make a perfect mix for you. So if you have Melodyne, you could use Melodyne. If you have Autotune, you could use Autotune. If you wanted to get creative like Anton, you could get creative like Anton in your mixing. This is also what artists really appreciate about the mixing engineer, when you can say, hey, here was something I noticed, I fixed it. So yeah, this is something I really took care of and looked at. If you pass the send Naji to space test and fix his vocals, then came the saxophone, and it really hurt me because they were so awesome mixes, but the saxophone was not right. Like, you put too much top end on the saxophone and didn't take care about the body. On some mixes, they didn't make it in the top 6 just because of the volume difference, like just the saxophone a little bit louder, a little bit more upfront, because it was like the saxophone solo to give the this touch, this final swing, like, hey man, something new is going on here. And sometimes the saxophone was just in the background or not present enough to give more excitement to the track. Like, this was really crucial. The saxophone was crucial here. What I listened to often in the mixes was a very bright saxophone, so you just could boost some low end. Again, I said it in the mixing breakdown, and if you didn't watch it, oh my god, so many mixes just didn't pass this test. And yeah, it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy decision, but in the mixing contest with so many entries, I just have to stay strict, guys. Yeah, then it went to the last chorus, and the last chorus I wanted something special there, like that you put some creativity in the ending, for example, like a delay tail, something like this. Also, you could put more reverb, more delay. You could use automation for the reverb, for the delays, to make it more exciting, truly exciting. And if somebody passed all these tests, they made it into the top 6. When there were a couple of issues, I made like a list with 150 mixes where I wrote like, this is good, but maybe here 1 dB less, 2 dB more here, the bass is a little bit too boomy. So according to this list, I just checked all the mixes, listened again, saw if my hearing was right, you know, when listening a lot. Sometimes your ears can fool you. You can be assured, like, when it was a good mix, it made it to the top 150 or top 200, I'm not sure yet how much it was. And from there, I listened again for a couple of days. And from there, I made like a top 17, I think. And from this one, I made the top 6. So this was the whole process. And now I will share a couple of notes with you that I took for the top 17 mixes. And there will be more honorable mentions, of course. You can see more honorable mentions, not in an order, because I didn't make the order like, oh, he's a 16 and he's a 17, because it wouldn't make sense. It would take a lot of time. And it was really hard to find even a top 6. I mean, this is so important for me, this good vibes on this contest. Just take it easy. It's you did something good for yourself. I feel often the road is the goal. The road, what we learned during this process, what you learned, going out of your comfort zone and putting time and energy doing what you love is so much worth. You show that you are interested doing it and you want to improve. And going out of your comfort zone is the best thing you can do. So let's check the top 17 mixes and see what I got here. Edward Morales, Axel Winzel, number 1 and 3. We talked about it on the Produce Like a Pro winning announcement. So we have Leo Tis. I will put the names down here and feel free to go to Rate My Mix, write the name in there and check out this mix. Leo Tis. Nice dry approach for the vocals, tonally great balance, cool FX in the bridge and very good dynamics, keeping the track interesting. The chorus gets nice and wide. Bonus is the love to detail with the nice FX in the outro and the small delay tails that are tasteful in my opinion. Maybe the sax solo is losing a bit of power for a short moment, but this can be also due to the composition. Great mix, man. Kriapis. I like how every element has its own space here. It's a great, rich, full mix. Vocals up front, reverb is sitting well in the mix, djembe is great, supportive, but not too pushy in the front. Sound-wise, really supporting the rhythm. More dynamics with automation could give it the extra 10%. I feel it's most of the time on the same level, like the final stage of volume automation is missing to make it a winner. Then we got Anton Ekström with his creative mix, I really enjoyed it. Then we have James Gorman. He really did a fantastic new mix, like a new way of mixing. It sounds so full and rich. Now on the third listen, I think it needs more dynamics. It's on full power and volume already from the beginning. There is not much space left to make the chorus bigger. But sonically it's top notch, great work. I like the djembe and tasteful reverb tail on it, adding up to the groove. On top of that, there are no vocal effects in the bridge, what is also a small extra for a winning mix. Here it's very dry. So James, great work, man. We have Arvid Nordtveit. Very nice tonal balance, whiteness and more poppy approach with clear and loud upfront backing vocals. Nice dynamics and very tasty FX choice on the vocal bridge. Sax solo sounds great, man. Great job on the saxophone. One thing, maybe the djembe could come up a little bit more in the first verse. Some frequency built up around 400 Hz in the backing vocals, but it's still okay. Great love to detail with extra effects in the last chorus that really fit to the vibe. Thank you so much for taking your time mixing the song, making such a killer mix here. We have Nicolas Cuevas. Cuevas, I hope I say your name right, man. Such a different approach with more dry elements. I like the djembe very much here. The track sounds very clean and exciting with this approach. Only thing that could help to make it perfect is a bit more reverb automation in the bridge and outro on Naji's voice. We have Marco Masi. Great work here, sounds very smooth, white and clear. He really found a great way to make the elements work together and build a full and rich soundscape. Naji's vocals could be a bit more upfront and the bass a bit less boomy for my taste. Saxophone could also have +1 or 2 dB to sit more upfront. Eric Rudy, we talked about this gentleman. Then we have Andreas Restepo. Oh, and by the way, we had some awesome mixes that could be even winner, but they got disqualified because they submitted twice for small mistakes. And so again, there were so many good mixes, but we had to choose 6 winners. Andreas Restrepo, very nice modern sounding mix. Love the dynamics and tonal balance here. Naji's vocals are really upfront and present. Djembe sounds fantastic, chorus gets wide and full. 1- the reverb have too much high mids. Rather the low mids would give more weight and tone to it. The FX in the bridge are not the best, I don't feel it. More automation or routing to reverb to make it more dreamy would help to make it effective in the mix. Anyway, mixing wise, top work. We have Chris Black here. Chris, exciting remix and a different approach, giving more space to the keys to guide the melody in the track. Nice upfront vocals, maybe a bit more top end, maybe. On the other hand, he tamed the S's and you can't hear the S's in the reverb like in many other mixes. I also like the dynamics in the track. The bass is a little bit too boomy and could have a bit more 2K for more tone and definition to hear the different notes and licks, but that's a different priority setting and that's fine. Ari 525. Very bright approach, but tasteful. Really enjoy everything here except the saxophone could be a bit louder and get some 200 Hz for more body and soul. Jose Alfonso Quibranza. Great punchy mix with priority on vocals and djembe to drive the song. I enjoy the dynamics here, especially the part leading to the chorus. No one else did it to emphasize this small djembe fill to lead to the chorus. There was a small djembe fill that brings you effectively from the verse to the chorus. Interesting spacey effect in the bridge. I'm not sure if it's a bit too much for my taste, but definitely creative. And then we have Johan Ansar. This one is very dynamic. Tonal balance is great. Djembe have the right mid-range. Bass needs a bit cleanup, too boomy. Like the djembe punch here, I really like it, but could be lower in the bridge as it covers the saxophone. Reverb has a great sound, vocals sound great, guitar has its own nice space in the mix. Great work. And the last one, Slava Kuderko, we talked about her already. So yeah, I hope this helped you a little bit more, giving you insight about my decisions, what was important for the mix, what could make a winning mix here. Oh yeah, the last part were the keys. The keys were important to really support it. You could put some automation on the keys because he played some real nice fills there. And you could sometimes bring the keys, for example, in the verse, in the first verse a little bit lower, in the second verse a little bit more up, and then at the end, everything a little bit louder. So like this, you could build more dynamics in the track. Generally for the keys, you could boost some 3K for more presence, just hard pan them left and right. What I usually do is separate tremolo bass, like you can route it to a new track, aux, put the tremolo there, so you have a little bit more movement for the keys, for the keyboard. Now, the remixes, I love the remixes. This was incredible and there were so many cool remixes. Why those 3 remixes won? I got a lot of comments regarding the remixes, that there were others that should win. And in general, a remix for me is, a winning remix is when you build on top of it and made it interesting throughout the whole track, because the track was very raw, like it was repetitive. So with your remix, you could really spice it up. And this is what we will jump more into the winning remixes compared to the others. First comment, or more comments I heard, was that Kaspar, who was on number 6, was the number 1 winner because he took care of the listener and the end consumer. And this is a little bit vague for me. Like at first, what means the best? What means the best compared to the others? There is no best at the end because we all have different taste. Yeah, so let's structure it like this. Let's go into, for example, Spina, the number 1 remix. Why was Spina so incredible? Spina put a completely new vibe to the song. It was a completely new vibe, and oh, the dog get crazy again. So instead of this Moroccan touch, the Morocco vibe, you got like a radio-ready, folky track that was exciting from the beginning to the end. All the time new creative elements were built in there that were not that obvious, that were very surprising for me. They created like a whole own creative vibe here. You got, for example, the small fills. I think the track is even longer because we had so many remixes. We had to consider also the tonal quality. This is why many creative remixes didn't made it as the winner, because here everything was sitting perfectly, like the tonal quality, how it sounds, this can be pushed directly to the radio. I love how these electric guitars come in at the end, and they sound really, really expensive, full and rich. And the song is longer than it was before. It's now 4:03 3. So this is also important for remix, that you really remix it. Many people added cool drums there and cool guitars and everything, but they just added it to the track. I mean, what means just? You put a lot of love and attention to it, and I really loved it. We will go into a couple of them very soon. But this one got longer. They just played around with the structure, and this was truly appreciated and made it truly a remix, like tempo changes to make it faster or slower. And yeah, I was really surprised with this one, and I listened to it, I think 5 times, 6 times. Usually I went from remix to remix, but this one I couldn't believe what the heck is going on there. This was truly beautiful from beginning to the end. Oh yeah, and then this was the small difference between Kaspar and Spina. Without making any beef or whatever, I don't know, man, the internet is crazy. Sometimes you get like crazy people taking things very personally, and guys, peace and love, chill out, okay? It's something beautiful what we are doing here. So between Spina and Kaspar showed musically a high level of talent, and just a little bit more with the mixing would change it, and putting new elements like structural changes would put you definitely into the top 3, man. Structural changes, maybe tempo changes, something even more surprising. You got now all the ProMix Academy courses, and you will learn a lot there. You will learn a lot there, and yeah, I think both were killer, but Spina's was definitely a number 1. So I hope this takes a little bit out the confusion. We have Chat Noor, and I really want to talk about this one, the Latino remix, because you just listen in the winner announcement, the beginning of it. And this one reminded me of Ray Barretto and his song Acid. Now I want to jump quickly to the thing, like people were saying, we didn't have the end listener in mind. And too often, you know, like music is more than a hit. I mean, there are so many courses out there and people who are praying and teaching, and this is the hit formula and this is a hit. Music have to be like this or it won't sell. This is absolute BS. Music is music. Just check out Manu Chao again. Get a little bit back to those vibes, like where people made the music straight from the heart. Like Ray Barretto, Acid is a genius song that changed my life. Every day I'm still listening to it. And it have nothing to do with any hit formula, with any radio-ready thing, but it's truly exciting. And this remix reminded me of Ray Barretto Acid. They are playing, they are building it up. There is some tension, and you feel like something will go on soon, but it won't happen in the first 2 minutes. There's just small parts, like building, keeping this rhythm. Along keeping this rhythm is like, it's driving me, like what's going on. And when you hear to the Chat No remix, after the bridge, it goes crazy. I absolutely love it how this same tension, like in Ray Barretto's Acid, you know, when they're playing, Ray Barretto, screaming there around, you know, and putting more things. And the tension gets released when the piano kicks in. Man, this is why I love this song so much. When this piano kicks in, it's always like a wow. And I get tears in my eyes. It's like, wow. And Chat No, you could capture the same vibe with your remix. The second thing is the African music and Latino music is very close together. So it was like a beautiful bridge. It was truly exciting for me, so this is why I picked the winner. This can be played easily in the radio, and yeah, congratulations for this killer remix, man. Then Nicola Captini and Consumer, metal fans. There is more than pop music. There is a niche for everybody, and we appreciate it. And we got a lot of heavy metal remixes. Most of them were repetitive, or a couple of them were also not in time. So there were some timing issues, so you couldn't make it to the winner. Nicola Capitini, man, keeping excitement from the beginning to the end, putting new riffs, but not like, hey, look how fast I can play this now, and it sounds now like metal. I felt a lot of heart and soul and a lot of work put into this remix, man. There was a lot of, you were really thinking like, wait, what is the next part that can make this track even more excitement? It was almost like a canva with a couple of colors there, and now you just made a completely new artwork out of it. And this is what I loved about your remix. You had this super cool Dimebag Darrell riffs, I think I said it already, but with a real great musical taste. So this is why Nicola Capitini won, because there was always something new going on. And just let me check, I think the song is also longer than 4 minutes 23, so he made even the song longer, and this was really important here. What else we got? Let's read about some other honorable mentions that I absolutely loved. And number one here on my list is absolutely Hakan Malmberg, who did a killer remix. If you didn't listen to it, please go and check it out, Hakan Malmberg. And my notes here, nice, so creative already from the first second, is speeding up the tempo and make a beautiful build-up. When I continue listening, bridge is killer and all the other new elements in the verse and chorus make sense now. Underlining the vibe, awesome saxophone solo and a cool open ending. This was so beautiful, this was such a beautiful remix. One thing was, I think tonally, like mixing wise, it was not in the top 6. Anyway, it doesn't mean it was bad, because it's small details, and it really hurt me that I couldn't put it into the top 6. Great work, man, Hakan. I love it. Your creativity, keep it up. Keep shining with your awesome music. We have Edward Hörnequist. I really, really loved it. Jacob Collier style, and then making the song happier than it actually was. That you went into Lydian, man. Changing chord progressions and adding tasty stuff to it. Nice punch and dynamics, but some low mids were missing in the mix. Cool fills and small tasty snacks in between. Edward rocked it. Fantastic horns in the bridge. The whole style have a kind of jazzy humor in it. Bridge FX are great. Thank you so much for taking the time making such a beautiful creative remix. I really appreciate it. Then we have Nicola Capitini. Then we got Stanboy. Stanboy is crazy. A creative remix and great hip-hop trap version. Cool story behind it. Created on a laptop only with cans. I really like that builds in many creative changes that keeps the song interesting and builds up throughout the entire piece. Great musical choices that require a good musical imagination. Man, you made because I'm working also with beats, I love to make beats, and you put a lot of detail there, like finding the right samples, making the transitions. Sometimes you had this sharp knife like this, and then every chorus got bigger and bigger. And yeah, I really loved it, what you did there. And describing like, I remember like just writing, hey man, I just got the laptop, I just got cans. I don't know if I can do it, but I do it anyway. And I love this attitude. Just do it. Don't let anything stop you from creating. This is the beauty on music. Next one, Chatnoir, of course. The Ray Barretto. CI remix, Chris Ibbotson. Wow. From all the electro pop funk remixes we received, this was absolutely the best. This was also something because you went into a pool, like I got 10 electro pop funk remixes, but this one was the best. So one of those made it into the top 5. I got a couple of Latin remixes, a couple of pop radio remixes, and we just chose one of them, or maybe two, like with Kaspar and Spina. Means again, like your mix or remix wasn't bad, it just was in a comparison with other mixes that had some different points, taking more care of the different points that we discussed. Emil Biscan. So funky, I got it here. So funky, man. All instruments and the build up is just perfect. Tasty, killer guitar solo, and what a tone. Excellent harmony work here. You did excellent harmony work. Please let me know in the comments if you learned music theory, because it was great. Compared to the others, not a full transformation of the track, but absolutely a top 10 with incredible skills. Thank you for participating. G Dodgy, who made it on place 4. There was so much going on in the remix, this is why I put him on the place 4. Some amazing new elements inside the remix, but sound-wise not the best. I think this was the thingy. Was in my top 3, but compared to the mixes, it's top 4. Ay. So you see, man, I put a lot of thought and love into it. It wasn't easy. This is such a creative producer and remixer, adding fantastic new elements as well as playing with the harmonies and musical tension, which is so spacey and creative. Cool choice of new instruments as well, mixing bagpipes and Latino trumpets in, sitars, everything. Man, musical hyperactivity, real musical journey through the world, and giving a new emotional touch to the track. Check the transition in the outro and then pushing the harmonies higher. Tasty work, great work, man. Thumbs up. Now we have Foco. Such a cool experimental, good sounding remix. An absolute honorable mention. I imagine this would happen if Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age would do electronic music. The end is so cool here. Reminds me of an abstract painting and having the guts to say, that's my song. I'm a big fan of art, and I love the era of abstract paintings where people just made a circle in the middle of the canvas and said, this is my painting, enjoy it. Where people just put the brushes there like and said, this is my painting, this is my art. And this reminded me of an abstract painting that could be like in crazy movies maybe, you know? And yeah, peace, man, great work here. Pedro Gomez, best of all adding their instruments to the song. Okay, Pedro Gomez made one of the best remixes for somebody who added their instruments there, like drums, bass, guitars, and so on. There was great musicianship, fantastic solo, great sound, good vibes. I love the bass line, drums, and the guitar work. Then the difference was again, it was add-on to the track, so there weren't many changes. There wasn't a new bridge maybe, or some build-ups, or it was just played through the song. It should need a little bit more remixing, but I massively appreciate all the good musicianship and great work here. And the last one, Jonathan Ovaye. Such a fantastic and incredible soundscape that he built here while staying musically. Wow. And I love the chorus changes. Pushing the vocals a bit later gives such a great vibe. Later in the bridge, I totally enjoyed the trap brass section coming in and more creative musical electronic ideas. A musical mind that really stands out and goes his own direction. Fantastic work, my friend. I really love this one. I remember also some the first remix that came in after a few days was by Moses Ade. And you know, I was excited, of course, like being part of this contest and hearing what people do with this track, because this really meant a lot to me. And Moses Ade, hell yeah, the first kind of a full new remix, new chords, fat bass, and very creative effects. Changed the structure as well. I really loved your work, Moses. What else we got here? There were a couple of remixes where people tried to put the track on grid, and you messed up all the rhythm. You messed it all up. The rhythm was out of space. It was, I don't know what the heck happened there, but if you try to put a Moroccan track on grid, you are literally killing it. You can't do it. And yeah, a couple of them. What I got here, Federico, honorable mention for the kind explanation of your approach. I really appreciate it when people wrote down the approach, how they remix the track. We got Mark Pullin, killer video, killer version, funk, all instruments played live, sounds amazing. Beautiful. Rob Mitchell, next round with a killer 80s vibes jazz remix. I really love this one. But sound-wise, it wasn't the best here. Say a couple of names here that are marked green. So we got Minoria, we got Eric Nilsson, David Croat, Tim Linsdale with his glitch hop mix. Wow, this was amazing. Then we got DRMPLX, interesting summer vibe remix. Alvaro Pacheco, prog rock mix. Stanboy, of course, we talked about Stanboy. Hakan Meinberg, Ivan Rivas, craziest madness remix ever, honorable mention. Artem Andrianov, killer chiller remix, really creative. Edward Leof, super creative but not in time. Limbo, honorable mention, Habibi, amazing 80s remix but not a winner. Mufi, raga dance beat to it, nice 80s, really 808s, really nailed it. But not the winner because only the beat is added. Emil Biscan, so funky. Ferdinando, beautiful soulful remix compared to others following the chord progression and adding to it. So there were people who added new chord progressions to the track and gave a completely different vibe to it. Sam Round, cool jazz version. Mohammed added new vocals and did a lot of work to it. Honorable mention for sure, great work Mohammed. Ricky D, such a headbanger. Just sound-wise could be a little bit better. Enrique Castilla made a beautiful piano version out of it. Julio Ortega, cool how it's built up into this 80s electronic vibes. Elias Day, cool ideas in the remix, but very repetitive. Lorenzo Diano, young producer, added new guitars and claps, honorable mention. Peter Samuelson, great sounding remix. Top 10, surprising element missing compared to the Curing top 3. Gary McCarthy, fantastic EDM production for rave. Yeah, I was raving in the car, man. Juan, very creative ambient, spacey mix with lovely nuances here and there. Honorable mention. Hugo Berg, cool intro already setting a new vibe. Nenant Vjestika Khan, wow, honorable mention, sound-wise could be a little bit better, but brings me straight to the desert. Changed the whole atmosphere so well. Would be in top 6, but the bass is too boomy and the karkaba too skinny. The oud sounds magical, string instruments are mastered, but percussion and bass needs more love and attention. Bocha, wow, what an intro, really new mystical vibe overall, mixes a bit, yeah, a little bit, something was strange with the mix, but the honorable mention for the creativity. Andrew Brandt, yeah, fantastic lo-fi remix, and he's on the safe side because it don't have to sound polished and perfect. Smart choice, man. Honorable mention, but it's pretty short. Fernando Ferrero, great electronic remix. Heitor Neves, super cool remix. I really enjoyed that one. Laura Lincevi, simply wow. Laura Linceni, this was crazy. Please check it out. This is incredible. The problem, no original tracks were added there. But so much love, effort, such a beautiful video. This, wow, check it out. We have PK, so experimental soundscape, fantastic sound design. Aleki, fantastic super reggaeton production, very creative and sounds great. Maybe too less variation for a sounding mix. And then we have G Doji and Jonatano Valle. Let's go to some honorable mentions for the mixes also. Soden Mac, cool intro with the birds. The background noise was a little bit too much compression. Nigel Anderson, great balance, a little bit too harsh S's. Our friend Christian Gilman, wow, great tone and balance and depth, very bright mix, no effects in the bridge, and maybe a little bit more peak moments with more dynamics would be cooler. What we got here, Sebastian Pracha, nice balance and fat. Axel Winzel, Donny, another top mix, great dynamics, low end, space, no FX, a bit dry in the solo section. Peter Jakob, wonderful mix, great upfront mix, great balance, tasty reverb. Fabio Bio, great mix, very balanced, no FX, cool low end. Mark, top mix, really great love to the djembe. Elad Berlina, Marcelo, Via Heswaf. What happened here? Marco Leprich, Saso Ristevski, Adomas Potius, punchy, loud and full mix. Too much oomph on the djembe. Sounds a bit too artificial, but amazing balance. Saso Ristevski, interesting backing vocals, main vox a bit compressed, takes out the dynamics. Everything is fighting for space, but anyway, good balance. Shaun Michael Walker, Daniel Heredira, Alexander Liperovsky, David Varela, Leo Tis, Julio Salas, great mix, Cole Stewart, Jordi Adrian, Juan Velez, Mick B. Hart, Daniel Almeida, Ronjoy Batakur, great mix, different approach with less reverb, but I like it. Todd Mitchell, fantastic balance, interesting FX in the back. Brian Lemon, full round mix. Mohaiminul Solid, frequency, range and dynamics. Tonally it's great, vocals nice up front. Christoph Bach, man, this was a killer remix. Benoit Festeo, top clean mix. Dylan Fisher, great different approach with room mics, like using mainly room mics. This was the only guy who made the different approach and putting more of the room mics there. Ta Brun Baker, this is good, coolest bridge so far. Anton Ekström, James Gorman, Varun Gupta, great balance overall, very nice and warm sounding, no FX in the bridge. Daniel Galezo, it's getting a little bit windy here. Okay, we have 20 more. Joey Carmona, Varun Gupta, Matt Amorso, fantastic mix, perfect for mastering. a little bit too nasal. Leo, fantastic, great balance, dynamic mix. Arvid, not fade, fantastic mix, great balance. Jacob Harrison Gissin, honorable mention. Something was with the reverb tail, killer mix anyway. Nicolas Cuevas, we talked about this gentleman. Kieran, great loud mix, sounding full and rich. Somehow not gluing together. Rodrigo Badillo Gomez, great balance. There are the right low mids. Bass sits nicely, fits audible. Ron Nixon, Ben Concepcion, John Mieras, Marco Massi, Ferenc Vaida, Erickson Rudy, we talked about him. Andres Restrepo, Z-Soft, Aris Elliott, Amit Levy, Mark Stettler, RGR, fantastic full mix, maybe percussion too spiky on the top end. Bruno, a wow, nice different wet approach. Saxophone could be a little bit better. Marco Ancona, so good. Saxophone plus 2 dB louder or percussion minus 3 dB louder to give more space, and it's a fantastic mix. Back Vox also a little bit more in the background at the end would made it to the top 10 or top 20. Chris Black, we talked about it. Thomas Berdal, this is so good. Nice FX in the bridge, maybe bass is too loud in the bridge and a bit too boomy. Anyway, I think it's a great, more dry approach that really captures the vibe. Saxophone is killer. Edward, Jose, Johan Ansa, Benjamin, fantastic, loud and exciting, but also dynamic mix. Burak Atas, love the approach with more full and round bass, great work. Ivo Vollering, great full sounding mix, maybe a little bit less dynamics, too little dynamics, too aggressive mastering. Sounds overall balanced, maybe some low mids from Djembe would help. And Slava and Gordon Turner. One more time, people of the world, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Produce Like a Pro. I hope you could learn something here, that your questions are answered. You can put all your questions down there in the comment section, and I'm more than happy to help you. If you have further questions, please feel free to go to the Rate My Mix webpage and check all the honorable mentions, because that's the best when you just listen to the work of your colleagues, to friends who are also mixing, and people who got the honorable mentions here, and to the mixing winners. I wish you all the best on your path. I hope to see you again. I will take a big sun bath now and go to the beach. Today is my day off, so take it easy. Feel free to check out our webpage, our YouTube page, where you find 80 plus music videos with bands that we recorded all around the world. Check out my ProMix Academy tutorials. You will learn more on how to mix world music and learn universal approaches, how to mix music in general, how I start with my mixes, how to bring them further. And if you have any questions, hit me up. I hope to see you in the Produce Like a Pro Academy. This is something that helped me to get way better, way faster, because you get the feedback from other people. Keep on doing it, keep on mixing every day, keep on recording, because this will make you only better and nothing else. And thank you so much for participating. You really made my 2022. This was really exciting. See you then. Bye bye.